Hello everybody, welcome to Mr. News Art class. It's wonderful to see all of your smiling faces today. Today, unfortunately, I am out of the classroom because I am at the amazing Camp McDowell field trip with the 5th grade students. While we're out, I thought it would be fun to do a super fun camping activity with you. Today, we're going to be drawing a campfire. For our materials today for this project, we're going to be using markers and crayons. Don't forget that the first thing you should always do when you get a brand new piece of paper is write your name, but don't write the word name because your name is not name. Then we're going to flip it so your name is on the back. And we're going to make sure that we rotate our paper not horizontal, but vertical. We want a nice tall paper so we can have some big flames. We're going to actually start with crayons first, and then we're going to color with markers later. Our outlines with the crayons, it really doesn't matter what colors we use, but we're going to start with some logs, then some flames, then more logs, and then we'll add some other stuff to it as well. I am going to start with a brown, but like I said, you could use any color for this. Starting below the middle. So I'm pointing at the middle right now, but I want to go lower than that. I don't want to go all the way to the bottom, but somewhere below the middle. I'm going to start with a big oval. And that oval is like a log that's in the fire, except we're not looking at the side of the log where we can see the whole length of it. We're looking at the end of it where we're going to see the wood grain that is in the wood there. And to do that, we're going to make an oval inside of an oval, another oval inside of an oval, oval inside of an oval inside of an oval, oval inside of an 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 oval until you get to the middle. Kind of looks like a target. Then I'm going to switch to a red, but you don't have to. Like I said, you can use any colors for this. Next, we're going to make some big giant flames, and we're going to make those flames in layers. Then we'll come back and make more wood in the fire. So I'm going to start at the side, or maybe a little bit above, not too high. I don't want to start at the top of the fire. I want to start at the side of the log. And I'm going to curve up to about the middle, not too high. We're going to need space to make it bigger later. Again, on the same thing on the other side, curve it up. And most times when we draw flames, they're wavy and curvy, and they almost look like tongues going up, pointy tongues. And so what I'm going to do is curve back down a little bit on both of these, but just a little bit, not too much. Then I'm going to curve up, and notice that it's like an S curve. It's wavy. It goes back and forth. I don't want to go wavy, 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 but I also don't want to just curve in one direction. So in case you were missing that, nice curve one way and then curve the other way. Again, we kind of curve down from each side. And then we're going to curve up to the top. Maybe this side might be a little shorter. And then we want to curve down in between those and connect them together. Now, in case you were hiding under a rock and missed all of that, I'm going to draw the same shape again. And I'm just going to draw it smaller inside. So if you missed that, just bear with me. We're going to do it one more time. I'm going to keep using the red. You might want to switch to orange or yellow, or you might want black outlines. It really doesn't matter, but we're going to do different layers of the fire. So what I want to do is draw this same shape again, but inside of that shape, and make it just a little smaller, but very similar to what we have here. So I'm going to curve up on both sides, curve down a little, curve down a little. Again, curve up on both sides, and curve down a little, curve down a little. And then curve up on both sides, and in the middle, we want to connect them down. Again, we want to do it a third time, so in case you were hiding under a fireplace and you missed all of that, I'm going to do all of this one more time. It's going to be smaller, and I'm probably not going to have quite as many tongues of the flame in this middle piece. Because it's smaller, I'm probably going to stop after 2 layers and not do the third layer. So again, curve up, down a little, curve up, and that's my 3 layers of fire. Don't color it in yet. Like I said before, we're going to use markers to color this in just a little bit. But before we color it, we want to add a couple more logs. So this one is the middle log that's kind of in front, and it's overlapping a little bit. That's why we drew it first. But the next 2, we're going to draw some more logs that are going kind of at a diagonal. And for those, we're going to start at this side with an oval. And just like we did here, we want an oval inside of the oval, and inside of the oval, and inside of the oval. But we also want to give it a little bit of 3-dimensionality. So if we're seeing the end of the log here, but it's pointing that direction, then from both the top and bottom, we're just going to make a little line that goes to behind that log and a little line that goes to behind the fire. Do you see how that looks like it's a 3D log that's going back into the fire? And we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side of the fire. So, in case you were hiding under a rock and you missed all that, I'm going to show you one more time. Oval. And it's kind of leaning because it's on this side and it's going that direction. And then an oval inside of an oval, and an oval inside of an oval, and an oval inside of an oval. And then we want it to look 3D. We want to see both the end of the log and the sides of the log. So from the bottom of that oval, I'm going to draw a line that bumps into this log here. And then from the top of that oval, I'm going to draw a line that bumps into the fire there. That's the fire finished. We're going to color this fire, and then if there's time, you can come back and add other things, like maybe some stones wrapping around the fire pit, maybe a person with a stick holding a marshmallow over the fire, maybe a tent where somebody is camping behind the fireplace. We'll talk about that later. Let's move on, put the crayons away, use markers to color our fire. Now, when we color the fire itself, the flames themselves, we're going to probably want to use the hot colors. Now, the hot colors are things like red, orange, and yellow, and pink counts because it is a type of red. Pink is just light red. So red, orange, and yellow, maybe even this sort of raspberry red violet. I would count that as a hot color for this. Any of these colors that you think would be great for fire. Now, this sandy tan color is kind of orangey, but it's a little too dull. We probably want more vibrant colors than that. So you can see here there are a lot of hot colors to choose from, and there's no wrong way on which one to go with first. So, remember, you don't need all of them, and you definitely don't need all of them at the same time. We're going to start by choosing one. I'm going to use red for this outside layer, and I'm going to take my time to color this neatly inside the lines and fill this whole shape without leaving any gaps. There, and once you have colored the outside layer, you can choose a different hot color for this layer, the middle layer. I'm going to do orange next, and it looks like I have two different oranges. One says orange and one says orange circuit. I don't know what the difference is. Let's find out. I'm going to use the one that says orange circuit. You decide. It doesn't have to be orange here. It might be some other hot color. What I'm seeing here is that the first red that I used looks like a red-orange. That's okay. Any hot color will do. And when you are done coloring the middle section, the second section, we're going to color the inside section. I'm going to move to yellow for that. But again, any hot color will do. By the way, don't forget that anytime you close a marker, please make sure you snap the cap on and make sure you have the right cap for the right color marker. You know, I'm looking back at this and thinking I kind of wish this outer layer was darker. I'm probably going to come back and redo that later. But for now, I'm going to move on to the logs. And there's a lot of options for the logs. We usually think about wood as being brown, but you might notice that you have more than one kind of brown in your marker box. You might also want to use something like a gray. Any kind of neutral color would work for this. So gray, brown, black. There's lots of different types of woods that are different neutral colors. And you might even have some lighter browns or some darker browns. This sandy tan that I mentioned earlier, where I said it's kind of orangey, but it's really more neutral than that. This might even work as a good color for your wood. But again, we don't need all of them. We just need one at a time. I am going to start with this one that says copper and see how that goes. Don't forget to put the cap tight on your markers before you put them back in the box. Now, as I'm looking at this picture, you might say, I'm done, what's next? But I really don't think I'm done. As I mentioned before, I think I might want this red color to be darker. I'm also seeing that my lines kind of disappeared when I colored over my wood, so I might want to go back over those lines with a darker color so you can see the wood grain again. So there might be some other things I might want to change here. So I think I'm going to go back this time and use the red. I think what I used before was this one that says infrared, or it might have been, there's another one in here called pumpkin. I don't know. But I think if I go back over the red flames again and darken them up. So this is an important part of the artistic process, is that not only do we draw something, but then we also recognize that what I've made is not perfect, and we look and see what could I change. I don't need to start over and try with a different color. I can just color over this with a different color. That doesn't always work, obviously, but in a lot of cases, we notice that we've got things that aren't quite perfect and things that aren't quite the way we want them. And we can do little things to just make the picture just a little bit better. So as I'm looking at this here, you can see that the difference between that side and that side is pretty strong. This is much redder and deeper, and so that red next to the orange really shines. But here it's more of an oranger red, and next to that orange, it doesn't really shine. So just this one little change is making a pretty big difference. If you aren't seeing anything like that needs to change in your picture, if you really like it the way it is, then instead of changing things, or instead of saying, I'm done, what's next, you could think about what might be around your campfire. Like I said before, you could make some people roasting marshmallows. You could make some tents where people are camping. You could make some stones that wrap around the fire pit to prevent the fire from spreading to other things outside of it. You could add trees in the background, or people sitting and telling stories. I think what I'm going to do about these logs is come back in with a darker color. In fact, I might even go to a black crayon. I could go back to crayons if I need to. And I think that's going to work really well, just tracing over these lines with this dark black crayon. I think that is making that wood grain show up super nice. So again, whatever amount of time you have left, you can use the rest of your time to make details, make any changes. Maybe you want to add more fire. Maybe you want to make people. Maybe you want to make little crickets or spiders or bugs. Maybe you want to draw animals that would be in the woods where you're camping. Maybe you want to draw squirrels or rabbits. Maybe you want to draw a little raccoon digging in a trash pile. Maybe you want to draw a little sleeping bag and a person sleeping next to the fire. You decide. It's totally up to you. So this is my super easy and fun campfire. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.